Hey guys, what's up? Just decided to make this video, and I've actually just been thinking that, I wasn't planning on making this video, but actually something in my tank just really made me want to make this video, and that's basically, this video is about listing your, a fish tank wish list. And by that I mean, before you get your tank, if you are new to the hobby and this is your first tank, I promise you, making a list of the potential fish you want to get is the best place to start out. And the reason I say this is, the worst thing you can possibly, not the worst possible thing, but something that you really don't want to have to deal with later on is a problem fish that, you bought and you had no idea his care requirements or his temperament, and you put him in your tank and he destroys your coral, or he wreaks havoc on your tank. And now the reason I came out with this video, that something in my tank, actually, it was my camel shrimp right there, decided to pop out. Mojo, my camel shrimp. I was actually, when I set up this tank, I was planning on getting corals eventually. Mostly soft corals and maybe even a small anemone. However, and maybe some like fan worms or feather dusters. And now, here's my problem. This guy right there, that as pretty as he is, this guy will destroy coral, especially leather coral and soft coral, which is mainly the corals I was planning on adding to this tank. They've also been known to pick at anemones, and they just can be a real problem. Invert to have in your tank. As they're very, very pretty, definitely pretty, and I definitely recommend this this shrimp if you are planning on keeping just like fish only or something, and you don't have any like predatory fish. Definitely get this guy. But if you're planning on adding any coral whatsoever or anemones, definitely this guy's best left at the fish store. Actually, when I bought him, I've always wanted a camel shrimp ever since I was little. I remember being really young, maybe 6, and I was on the computer, and I would always look at this one website, like reefhotspot.com or something, and I would love to look at the fish and shrimps and stuff they had on there. And I loved the camel shrimp, and I was just, for years, I'd always loved this camel shrimp, and I always kind of remembered him. And so when I finally set up this tank, I knew I had to get a camel shrimp. So without doing very much research at all, I added him to my tank. And now I'm dealing with the results from that unplanned purchase. And that's all I'm saying here is make a list. It's the best thing you can do to start out your tank and start out this hobby, is make a list. Go on a website and maybe look at some possible fish that maybe you like the color, maybe you like the temperament, whatever your reason for liking this fish may be. List it and go to your fish store. If your fish store is a reliable one like mine is, go to your fish store and you can ask about those fish. And if you're planning on getting any corals or anemones or whatever, make sure they're gonna be okay with that, with those inverts and everything. Just make a list. That is the best thing you can do. Another really irritating thing, I guess a real pain in the neck that will oftentimes happen is when you set up this 30-gallon tank, let's say as an example, and you go to the fish store and you see a really beautiful yellow tang, let's say, and you say, hey, can I get that yellow tang? I really want to add that to my tank. And the fish store will say, how big is your tank? And you say 30-gallon. They say, well, sorry, unless you have one of those fish stores that will let you buy whatever you want without intervening at all. But if you have a reliable fish store, they should say something like, oh, maybe, if you had a bigger tank, I'd say yes, but with the size of your tank, definitely it's a no. And that can be a real bummer. And so, if they had investigated that beforehand, before they actually looked into buying that tank, they would have known, okay, if I want to get a yellow tank, I'm going to have to get at least a 75-gallon tank. And so they would have been prepared, and their tank would have been prepared to house that yellow tang. And so all I'm saying here is prepare for the future. Even if you're not expecting on, if you're not really thinking about getting any corals, and you think corals, they're a waste of money and they're boring and all that, definitely hold off on that puffer fish or hold off on that eel just for a little bit, until you really realize, yep, definitely not going with corals, definitely not getting a reef tank, because a lot of times people will get their tank with just fish and then they think, you know what, I want to go up to the next level and add some corals. Well, let's say you add that eel and that puffer fish, as an example, earlier. Now that you want your corals and you want an anemone or something, now you can't add those because you've added those fish. Sure, you can remove those fish, but it's going to be a real pain in the neck. And so there's just a lot of things can result from unplanned purchases. So all I'm saying here is make a list. And speaking of lists, I will be coming out soon, probably tomorrow, if not the next day, probably tomorrow, with my revised list, my 75-gallon stock list, where I'll be, because a lot of things have changed, like I mentioned in my the video I made before this one. A lot of things have changed with that list, and I want to let you guys know what's going to be going on with that tank, and what type of fish and inverts and corals and everything like that I'll be adding to that tank. So I want to let you guys know, and for you guys to be stay tuned for those how-to videos on those animals I'll be getting for that tank. So real short video, just want to let you guys know, make a list. It's definitely going to be worth it in the end, when you have that beautiful tank with all those fish you wanted. Alright, thanks for watching, and oh, one more. So the question of the day is, if you could have a hybrid between any two fish, what would it be? It can be the craziest mix between two fish imaginable, you know, like a royal grandma and a Morse idol. I think that would be really cool. Just, you know, if you could have any hybrid between any two fish, a complete mixed breed, what would it be? Leave your answer in the comment section below, and thanks for watching. Comment, rate, subscribe. Thanks guys. Bye.